I'm Connor Old, and welcome back to another episode of Old's Oscar Countdown. And this week we're going to be looking at the SAG Awards. They just happened. These are my instant reactions and analysis to answer that question. Is the Oscar race over? Are the acting races all set? Is this the four we're going to see at the Oscars? In short, probably not. The Oscar race, we still have the BAFTAs and PGAs, and there's so many great things for you to stick around on this channel. And throughout the next coming month, I will be breaking down all of the different award shows before we ultimately get to the Oscars, and I'll be giving my final picks. But jumping right into things, starting off, I want to talk about the Best Ensemble category because it's one of the most interesting ones and the sort of best picture sort of precursor in many ways. Now, if you're unaware, the sort of big three precursors that I think a lot of people look for when it comes to best picture are the Best Film Ensemble Award winner, the Producers Guild Award, and also the Directors Guild. Those are sort of the big guilds, the industry precursors that we can look at. BAFTA has a certain connection to, but in terms of those sort of main guilds, in terms of the American branches, those are the big three. So we've gotten this now here, SAG, and CODA won for Best Ensemble. Does that mean CODA is going to win for Best Picture? I don't think so, and I'll explain in a little bit. But the one sort of thing we took away from this, aside from CODA winning for Best Ensemble, is Belfast not winning. Now, despite this category's somewhat suspect ability at predicting what's going to win Best Picture, I think it would have been really helpful for a movie like Belfast to get the support here. Now, is the Oscar race over, or is Belfast's chances completely done? I don't think so. You know, it could still win something like PGA. However, not getting in here shows sort of a movie that doesn't have sort of maybe the overall support we necessarily thought it could. You know, I thought maybe Katrina Balfe could get the win. She didn't even get nominated at the Oscars. Screenplay is looking less and less likely, so it still has a path, but it's gonna have to win a PGA or something for it to ultimately win at Best Picture. So it not winning here, I think, is a knock to its chances. That being said, I predicted CODA, so I wasn't necessarily super surprised when it won, unlike some other people, because it seems like the ultimate SAG Ensemble win. This category was once pretty predictive, but now, if we look at the past 10 winners, 6 out of the 10 SAG Ensemble winners did not win Best Picture. So it has a less than 50% hit rate, so it's not very good that way. And as a matter of fact, if you look at the last 4 years, 3 out of those last 4 Best Picture winners, so we're looking at Nomadland, The Shape of Water, and Green Book, all three of those movies, of course, went on to win Best Picture, and they weren't even nominated in this category. So we're seeing an ensemble category really trying to be more so geared towards Best Ensemble, which is why we see movies like The Artist, which is why we see movies like The Help or American Hustle or Black Panther or Hidden Figures, true ensemble movies, win in this category. Now, sometimes, you know, I wouldn't say CODA's Best Picture chances are impossible. You know, it did get nominated for Best Picture, and it won here, so it could pull off sort of a Parasite-like upset. That being said, it didn't get in for editing. It didn't surprise in any technical categories. It didn't even get in for something like Best Original Song, so there is some sort of concern there. And for me, I think this will be CODA's sort of big win. It always seemed like this sort of indie, darling Sundance movie with that sort of focus on the ensemble, so I wasn't surprised that CODA won here. Do I think it's going to win the Best Picture? No, just because this category has been very poor at predicting what's going to get the win for Best Picture, even in terms of not even nominating Best Picture movies, and it seems to be very much an ensemble award, where particularly in the past it was almost like a Best Film award. It's changed since then. Then jumping into Best Actor, not a surprise here, we have Will Smith from King Richard. I think this sort of just defines the fact that, yes, Will Smith most likely will get the win here. King Richard was a weird movie because it got in for ensemble here, so there was support, but it didn't get in for someone like Ingenue Ellis. But when it comes to the Oscars, it got in for picture, it got in for screenplay, it got in for Ingenue Ellis, and of course Will Smith, and it even got a surprise, you know, editing nomination. So there is strong support for the film, and if we're of the belief that I am that in the past few years, the Academy really has tried to make an effort, I think, to reward every movie that's been nominated for Best Picture. Now, it's going to be very difficult to do this year because there's 10 nominees, but in most years, either 7 out of 8 or 8 out of 9 of the movies that get nominated for Best Picture at least win one Oscar. So if you're looking at King Richard that way, a movie that got nominated for Best Editing, so it's theoretically a top 5 Best Picture contender, where is this going to win? Is it going to win Screenplay? I don't think so. Ingenue? I don't think so. Here's a most sort of clear example. And Will Smith coming up here and giving his speech, I think is just another sort of almost benefit to him, because Will Smith is one of the most charming movie star actors. He's never won before. It does feel like it is sort of his time, and because he's so charming, he's great at those speeches. So the more he's able to sort of get out in people's faces and voters' minds, the better. So I think King Richard and Will Smith, I think this will be his year. And because we didn't see a surprise Benedict Cumberbatch or what have you, Andrew Garfield, I do think that Will Smith should have this one pretty locked up. Then Best Actress was, I think, the biggest surprise of the night. The winner went to Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye. And we knew that going to Oscars night, it would be a very sort of up in the air winner. And that really Lady Gaga was the only sort of notable contender nominated at BAFTA, and she didn't even get nominated at the Oscars. As a matter of fact, none of the Best Actress nominees at the Oscars got nominated at BAFTAs. So really we only have here SAG as any sort of precursors that we can go into the Oscars. And really since Kristen Stewart, this was the sort of presumed frontrunner, when that movie sort of didn't pan out and she barely got nominated at the Oscars, didn't get nominated at SAG, there was sort of a void to be filled that hasn't really been filled by anyone. And you can look at it two ways. On one hand, Jessica Chastain is someone that definitely could win this award. Right now, I'm a little bit more hesitant to it. I don't necessarily see this as like, oh, definitely because Jessica won here, she's going to win the Oscars. But we're in this sort of limbo period where this is the only award that we're going to really have any indication of in terms of Best Actress. But I look at it in particular and I go, okay, on the one side, Jessica Chastain has never won before. She's been nominated twice. She's a very well-respected actress. She has been sort of campaigning for this movie. It's a transformative role, playing a real-life person, putting a lot of makeup that has helped people like Gary Oldman, or even someone like Renee Zellweger for Judy, or Rami Malek for Bohemian Rhapsody. We've seen that do well in the past. So it fits that mold. And Jessica Chastain, I do think, is a very well-liked actress. That being said, on the other hand, The Eyes of Tammy Faye has only gotten 2 nominees, and when we're looking at movies like Judy or Still Alice, when Renee and Julianne won for those movies, and they had very poor in terms of nominations. When they won for those movies, it was sort of deemed early on, this is the Renee year, she's going to win. And then she did. Same thing with Julianne Moore. We're going to finally give her Oscar. And it was sort of preordained. Jessica Chastain, I don't think, has had that sort of preordained element. So it'd be odd for me to say that, oh, just because she won SAG, she's definitely going to win the Academy Award. And because the movie is sort of a mixed bag in terms of its appreciation, only got those 2 nominations, it's hard for me to definitely say, okay, well, people really love The Eyes of Tammy Faye, therefore it will win. But then the sort of elephant in the room is like, well, who is going to win? I don't think it's going to be Kristen Stewart for Spencer. That movie isn't as well liked, and she didn't get nominated at SAG. It could be Nicole Kidman for Being the Ricardos. In my personal opinion, I think I still would have her at number 1, because like Jessica Chastain, she's also playing a real life person, except that it's also an actress and it is a bit of a transformative role. And I think in terms of likability, Nicole Kidman already has an Oscar and Jessica Chastain doesn't, but I do think Being the Ricardos is a more liked movie. It had 2 other acting nominations, so we know there's acting support from the Academy for it, so maybe it'll go to Nicole there, but it could go to Olivia Colman, because we know it has The Lost Daughters, a movie that got in for writing, but it also got in for Jessie Buckley, so there is some acting support there. Really, the truth being is that the Best Actress category is really up in the air. And maybe I've just been burned by SAG recently that I'm a little bit more hesitant, because on one hand, 7 out of the last 10 Best Actress winners that won at SAG went on to win for the Oscars. So Connor, why are you so hesitant? Why isn't Jessica Chastain going to win? And maybe I've just been sort of burned recently for SAG in terms of, Viola Davis didn't win last year. She won at SAG and then didn't win the Oscars. Same thing with Glenn Close, won at SAG, then didn't win the Oscars. And sometimes the Oscars do like to go their own way, that they're very rarely sort of 4 for 4 for SAG. Now, you can always usually sort of pick up on what the sort of surprise will be. We knew Emily Blunt wasn't going to win anything because she wasn't nominated, I believe, when she won the SAG. So Idris Elba for Beast of No Nation. There are certain things that we can sort of look towards. But in some years, we're sort of unsure, and Regina King wins SAG, and then she wins at the Oscars. So it's hard to tell 100% for sure. Jessica Chastain definitely has a strong chance. I'm just a little bit hesitant because of how the couple more recent years have been going, and because I don't think there's a lot of support for the movie in itself. Then Best Supporting Actor, another surprise, but I think a surprise that will sort of definitely maybe take over in terms of the lead. The winner here was Troy Kotsur for CODA, and this was a surprise for a lot of people, I think, because a lot of people did have sort of Cody Smith-McPhee out in front as the sort of lead guy. He should get it, should be fine, right? But then he didn't win here, which was a bit of a surprise. And really, Troy Kotsur is not only one of the surprises of the night, but also one of the surprises of the season. Even someone like myself, who was a CODA believer early on as a Best Picture contender back in October, I thought, the most likely chance would be like someone like Marlee Matlin, because she's a past Oscar winner. It could be sort of a retrospective kind of a nomination, and then Troy Kotsur gets nominated at, the Globes, and then at SAG, and then it was like, oh no, Kotsur is actually the guy from CODA that we're going to celebrate. And he got nominated everywhere, and then he wins here. And I think he fits a lot of the sort of stereotypical supporting actor winners. If you look at the past 21st century, past 20 years of Best Supporting Actor winners, there are only 3 people who were under 35 when they won their Oscar, that being Benicio del Toro, Heath Ledger, and Daniel Kaluuya last year. So it would be strange for Cody Smith-McPhee to win. As a matter of fact, if he were to win, he'd be the second youngest supporting actor winner of all time. So that was always sort of something that was bothering me early on. I was never a huge Cody Smith-McPhee believer, because it was like, well, he's kind of young. This is not necessarily the type of performance even that always wins. But Troy Kotsur, if you're looking at on the positive side, why I think that actually right now he is probably my frontrunner to win in this category, because he's older, so he fits that sort of older bill. I liken CODA in many ways to a movie like Little Miss Sunshine, and of course Alan Arkin won for that movie, and Troy Kotsur is this sort of older actor, does seem, has this sort of great emotional scenes, but is also very funny. He's able to do both, which I think really works well for him and his character. That sort of blend of humorous and heartwarming really works for the film, and I think he stands out. So if you like the movie, that helps. Also, if you're a believer like I am, that in recent years the Academy likes to give Best Picture nominees at least one award, well, where's CODA's award going to go to? In this case, I think it could go to Troy Kotsur. Plus, we already see the support at SAG for both ensemble and supporting actor. There is support for this movie. So I think Troy Kotsur makes the most sense as of right now. But then you look on the other side and you go, Cody Smith-McPhee. We knew The Power of the Dog wasn't as well liked by the SAG Academy members, the SAG members, because it didn't get nominated for Best Ensemble. It didn't get nominated for Jesse Plemons. He ultimately got nominated at the Oscars. So we know there's sort of an Oscars appreciation more so for The Power of the Dog. So Cody Smith-McPhee, I don't think, is out of this race. You look at it and you go, well, oftentimes when we get 2 nominees from the same movie in the same category, in this case Cody McPhee and Jesse Plemons, one of them usually wins, whether it be last year's Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, or Sam Rockwell for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. There usually is, one clear one. Sometimes we'll have Al Pacino and Joe Pesci, but we knew neither of them were going to win. They're sort of dual people. Similar with Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz, they were sort of dual protagonists of that movie, and there wasn't necessarily one that was clear over the other. But I think in this case, Jesse Plemons was a surprise, but then Cody Smith-McPhee ultimately won. Last year, Lakeith Stanfield was a surprise, but then of course Daniel Kaluuya was the sort of front runner. He was going to win. So in that case, you go, well, in this case, most likely Cody Smith-McPhee seems to be the sort of clear support for Power of the Dog. We know the movie's very well liked within the Academy, particularly. He could win there, but I still have some concerns over the age. It's just not something that the Academy traditionally likes to do. The Power of the Dog could get enough support in winning screenplay, director, and picture that they want to give, CODA some support here, and Troy Kotsur does sort of play a little bit more of the traditional winner in the supporting actor category. Then I just want to touch up at the end here with Ariana DeBose for West Side Story. I remember early on it was like, maybe she could do it, maybe. She did the red carpet of the Oscars last year. She already had that in, and it does seem like after the SAG win, she will be the winner. I think West Side Story is a movie that's finally coming out on VOD. I think a lot of people are seeing it, including even Academy members for the first time, or at least seeing buzz on it in the internet and talking with people and whatnot. And there's a strong amount of appreciation, whether it be a Guillermo del Toro tweet or just a strong appreciation for the craft of this movie. And I think if you like this movie, I think you like Ariana. particularly when, unlike the supporting actor category, the supporting actress category, or really just the actress category, likes to reward these ingenues, these young female actresses that the Academy can sort of crown and say, you are the next big thing, whether it be the Emma Stones, or the Jennifer Lawrences, or the Brie Larsons, or the Gwyneth Paltrow's. I mean, we have a sort of a history of this, and Ariana DeBose, in her film debut here, really sort of showing off. She has a sort of big emotional scenes in terms of the stoicism and the one tear rolling down her face, but also she sings and dances and is really alive in this movie. It's also sort of some Oscar symmetry in the sense that Rita Moreno won for this part 60 years ago. Now we have Ariana DeBose winning here. It would be, you know, a nice sort of symmetry. And let's not forget, you know, she did the red carpet for the Academy last year. She already has an in, she already has support. Then she gets, you know, nominated here. There isn't a clear winner. She gets West Side Story was a movie that wasn't very well appreciated by the SAG voters, and yet still she won. Still she was even nominated when the movie didn't get a SAG Ensemble, for example, which is a classic sort of, you'd think, ensemble movie. So I think Ariana has this one in the bag. I feel confident that she's going to get in. We'll see at BAFTA. Similarly with Best Supporting Actor, we'll see at BAFTA. There are certain instances where we can, you know, double down and get another sort of a sense of reassurance. But I do think Ariana wins here, and it would make sense for West Side Story to get at least one win. In this case, the West Side Story for Ariana makes the most sense, fits the most sort of traditional path of this category, and winning here just gives her an extra little bit of a boost. So as it stands right now, I'd say CODA, I don't think is going to win for Best Picture despite its Best Film Ensemble win. I do think Will Smith and Ariana DeBose are in very good positions and close to locks for winning in Best Supporting Actress and Best Actor. Then in Best Actress, it's still very much up in the air. I'm not of the believer right now that I think Jessica Chastain is going to win. It's going to be a very close race coming into the night, but I don't necessarily see it as of right now. But right now, that's the only thing we have to go off of. So maybe I will pivot come Oscar night. And then Best Supporting Actor, I think Troy Kotsur sort of leapt over my Cody Smith-McPhee prediction, and I was never confident in that. It was sort of just a default thing. But that being said, Cody Smith-McPhee could win at BAFTA and change totally. Power of the Dog is very well liked at the Academy and does seem like more of an Academy member, you know, prestige-y versus the more populist SAG voters. So it's hard to tell where that's going to go right now. It should be an interesting race. But regardless, the Oscars are still up in the air for me. Best Picture, we still don't know. We don't have PGA. Power of the Dog, a little bit of a disappointment here. Maybe it's a shot to its chances, but then again, Belfast, the contender, didn't do anything to sort of steal them. Hard to tell right now, but that's why you subscribe to this channel. That's why you like the video. Please, it really does help, but that's why you sort of stay tuned every single week, Mondays at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, so you can keep up to date with all the latest breaking Oscar news and analysis here from Old Oscar Countdown. We're in our 6th season. We have 75% in our predictions in nominations and wins. We've done very well. A historic sort of past now we have behind us of continually providing excellent Oscar predictions, which is why you should subscribe to the channel. And ultimately, I'd love to hear your comments, hear your thoughts on the SAG reactions, your gut feelings. Does this mean you think Troy Kotsur is definitely going to win? Jessica Chastain, how do you feel about her? Are you iffy like me? Are you definitely confident? That's the reason why I do this channel ultimately. But that's about it. Until next time, stay tuned.